We have hundreds of American citizens left behind enemy lines in Afghanistan as I speak. And also, very sadly, the interpreters who worked with our special forces, almost all of them were left behind and were not let in the gates at the airport at HKI to get out.
Now, what I'm asking is, since we left the country on Friday, how many Americans have gotten out of Afghanistan since we pulled out? How many Afghan allies have gotten out since the Taliban was in complete control of the country?
I understand, zero. And in fact, we have 6 airplanes at Mazar Sharif Airport, 6 airplanes with American citizens on them as I speak, also with these interpreters, and the Taliban is holding them hostage for demands.
You're saying that there are Americans on airplanes ready to fly out of Afghanistan right now, and they're not being allowed out because Taliban is making demands. What demands are the Taliban making?
We know the reason why is because the Taliban wants something in exchange. This is really, Chris, turning into a hostage situation where they're not going to allow American citizens to leave until they get full recognition from the United States of America. I worry his recommendation to the administration will be to recognize the Taliban as the official government of the United States, a Taliban organization that is a terrorist organization.
There's been days where, I think to myself, like, am I going to make it home? Am I going to end up living here? Am I going to end up dying here? What's going to happen? It was so hard to just get on a flight. There was a couple of days where we had to sleep on streets. People were literally stepping over people. That's how bad it was. They told us, go to a certain location, you will be picked up. And this is from the State Department. You will get picked up. Go there. And it was in the middle of the road across the airport. So we went there, waited an extra 12 to 13 hours with no food, no water, nothing. I got gun pointed to my head. Our troops were literally at the gate, just waiting for us to continue walking. And they had blocked us. And there was a time where, I went past them and I started walking as fast as I can. And they started shooting right by my leg and told me to come back, or they were shooting me. I was not going to leave without my husband because I knew in my heart I was never going to, step a foot back in Afghanistan once I go home. And I'm pregnant. And definitely my child is going to need a father. I'm going to need a husband by my side. I don't even think I'm going to be able to go. I definitely lost up hope. If I was only 15 steps away from the airport and I was told people are going to come out of the airport to get me, so what hope am I supposed to have now?
We are learning there are still Americans stuck and struggling to get out of Afghanistan. Joining us now is David Fox, who runs a marketing firm in Kabul. He and his Afghan wife and son have been desperately trying to get out of that nation, but they are still there tonight.
After many days of, waiting and trying to decide what to do without any notice from the U.S. government about evacuation flights, we decided, on the advice of my State Department friend, to make a run for the airport. And when we got there, there was a crowd of several hundred, potentially even, over 1,000 individuals. Afghans who were desperate to get into the airport. But I was able to make contact with one of the Marines, and he was yelling, American, Americans here. And he just, I made eye contact with him, and he just says, get out, get back now. And the Marines are just, firing, their weapons, firing water shots in the air. We realized that we just couldn't, continue this. If we, stayed there longer, there was the chance that we would, pass out from exhaustion.
How are you going to get out of that country?
So, for me as a father, I always have to I have to weigh the risks of these different options. So to me, the airport is very dangerous. The Marines do not have control of the northern gates. And for whatever reason, the British, are not allowing Americans with, American passport holders to just come in. We are going to wait until these evacuation flights stop and then commercial flights resume. For those of you who aren't familiar, if you get a U.S. visa, an immigrant visa in your passport, this is what it looks like. But this document has no name. It's not addressed to anyone. There's no serial number, at the bottom. There's no barcode. So even the Taliban can't control, 2,000 or 3,000 people at the Camp Sullivan Gate when you have tens of thousands of Afghans who now have this kind of ridiculous, bogus document that the State Department created. I mean, I don't know how else to explain something like this, an idea like this, except for brainworms.